Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It is me, once again, screaming into the void of the internet. It's closing time as usual, and here I am, pretty much. So, I have something interesting to talk about because this freaking, closing kind of, blew up a little bit in terms of, just random conversations and stuff like that. And I kind of want to make this video talking about the fact that, I really think most people, adults in general, most humans cannot handle disagreement. I'm going to talk about reasons why I feel that is the case. I think that, realistically speaking, whether people want to believe it or not, they're herd animals first. Most human beings are herd animals first, and it's very hard for them to break it because it's like they don't realize that they're in a herd. They think that they're not in a herd, but they realize it. Like, here's what just happened. Essentially what happened was one of the coworkers was talking about several things because of the boss, right? The boss that I mentioned, like the micromanager, the one who's cutting my hours and crap like that. The male manager that I tend to talk about, he mentioned that, the reason why he feels like she's been so micromanaging is because, something's been going on in her relationship. And he said that the guy isn't necessarily the best. But, as we guys know in this space, we already know that they love picking those kinds of guys. And so the young coworker who's here, he says, I don't understand why women, and then, the chicks immediately look at him. And so my male manager says, don't finish that sentence. Don't finish that sentence. Now, I don't think it's that he's being a cuck or anything. I think it's mainly just he knows how it works, and he probably just wants to, look out for him because you know how chicks are with that crap. All it takes is just the freaking label of misogyny and all that stuff, and you can get fired. So he says, just don't finish the sentence. Now, funnily enough, he did bring this up. He said, oh, but if I said if men, and you say, hey, listen, I don't make the rules. And I agree, because here's my thing. If she's taking, freaking micromanaging out on us, and then we talk about the fact that, well, if you're getting really irritated and you're drinking, because he did mention that she's drinking too, why in the heck can't we talk about that? Why is it suddenly wrong to talk about the issues that you're going through because of decisions that you yourself made? It just doesn't make sense. And then, funnily enough, the topic shifts to a lot of interesting stuff. Apparently a lot of coworkers in here, some of these male guys are fruit bowls and stuff like that. Hint, hint. And funnily enough, standard operating procedure with the red flags and the freaking tattoos and the freaking piercings, the nose piercings, all that bullcrap, piercings. One of the chicks just says, well, it's obvious because it's just, they're just living their best lives, and, it's not like we need any, God or anything. I'm like, where the heck did that come from? But it's then, for some reason, the topic just talks about that, and they start talking about, God for, 20 minutes. I'm quiet, and listen, you guys already know I don't really get into topics about that, because I don't really care. You can believe whatever the heck you want, because at the end of the day, like I said, here's how I see it. And I kind of mentioned this to my male manager, because we were both just kind of, staring at them. All this sounds like is just philosophy in ancient Greece. And people might honestly take great offense to that, because they suck these guys' dicks, man. My God, do they suck philosophers off. It is insane to listen to some people with these freaking intelligent, hyper-intelligent, intellectual egos just suck off Greek philosophers when, realistically speaking, you want to know what they were. No offense, they did have wisdom. I'm not going to pretend like they didn't have wisdom. But they were grown arse men, 40, 50, 60 years old, arguing all god dang day. All day, and people would come and pay them to hear them speak. All that I see that as is the same way that I see these freaking celebrities. Oh, you played in a movie that I liked, and so suddenly you're qualified to speak on this and this, that, and the other. And I'm not one of these people that says that you need to be qualified to speak on things. I'm not really saying it like that, but I'm saying, I would never pay somebody to hear what they have to say. If you're at the point where you feel like someone's supposed to be paying you to hear you speak, I think that you're doing something wrong. I do. But why I'm trying to talk about herd mentality, because I just found it very fascinating that the standard operating procedure, the college girl, standard land whale, like, you know, like the freaking Wojak memes with the fat chick? Just imagine her, but black. That's essentially what it was. Like the same kind of, like, attitude and everything. Like, just unruly and stuff like that. So, the fact of the matter is, every kind of argument that you could hear about, like, the woman, when, like, my younger coworker mentions it, is counteracted by all of the standard bullcrap going on at universities. And they could not believe, they could not, it's like you couldn't really convince them that they were, like, brainwashed. And that's why I'm like, listen, man, these freaking universities are just, they're just brainwashing centers. If you don't have freedom of thought, if you can't handle abrasion, then, like I say these days, I feel like your mind is like a forge, right? It's like a forge. The only metal that's going to be worth your time is tempered metal. If you can't handle different viewpoints, you're not really that strong. You think you're strong. Because it was just so interesting to me to listen to this freaking chick, and she is just, again, 100% every kind of red flag you can imagine for the standard, typical, university-educated, air quotes, right? Freaking chick. Combative, argumentative, unruly. And you can't hold them accountable. And whenever he was trying to mention, like, why are chicks staying in the relationships, or he said, well, then let me just stop, why are people, because he tried to, be politically correct. And this is why I stay silent, because, guys, if I speak at this job about that kind of stuff, I'm fired. Y'all, I will not hold back. So I don't even say a word, I don't even say a word. I'm here to make money, not, like, freaking discuss philosophy. So she said, oh, well, I've been in that. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. How is it that someone can literally act as though they know everything, try everything in their hardest to try and hold guys accountable if they criticize trying to hold women? Like, isn't that really funny? Chicks try and hold men accountable when guys try and hold them accountable. Why are you staying in a bad relationship that's destroying your health and, destroying the way that you see things and makes you more aggravated? Well, it's complicated. Like, she couldn't give an answer, but, like, this is who you're supposed to listen to. And what I'm bringing this up for is this, again. Because at the end of the day, I feel like people should be able to look at things from multiple perspectives. Sure, I have my perspective, but I always try to listen to others, even if it's hard to listen to. Listen, I have listened to, like, trans testicles, I've listened to freaking swingers, I've listened to a lot of leftards and conservatives. I'll listen to a lot of them. But whenever I listen to them, like, if I hear something that's unreasonable and I, like, address it, it's always usually some kind of emotional perspective. If I talk about conservatives, they try and say, well, it's the greatest thing for the country. You should try and move in a direction that is, like, more traditional and stuff. I'm like, well, okay, listen. Objectively speaking, there's a lot of tradition that would, if we went with tradition, we'd lose certain comforts. Are you willing to do that? And a lot of conservatives are going to say no. And so there you go. How many conservatives would really be down to just waiting to marriage now? Especially with the freaking chicks. They're over here getting dug the heck out, but they're going to tell you to wait? Like, it's, yeah, no, But then you got the leftards. Let's talk about the freaking trans testicles. Well, I feel like I'm a woman and stuff like that. And then you start asking them just some questions, like, and you got to ask some hard questions. They say, hey, did you have any kind of encounters as a young kid? And a lot of times, more often than not, they will say yes. Then you start asking, like, these freaking swingers and all these freaking poly bastards. One of the first things that they will say as they talk about that community is that little voice in your head telling you that this is wrong, ignore it. I'm just saying. You have to let the facts speak for themselves. So I'm saying, hold up. You're literally trying to tell me that what you're doing is right because you've convinced yourself that it's right. You have to convince yourself all the time that this guy going out and cheating, this girl going out and cheating, and then coming back to you with, like, freaking somebody else's freaking bodily fluids up in them and whatever the hell they've been doing, and then coming back and kissing on you is normal. And that's what everybody should be okay with. But at the end of the day, this is what I'm trying to talk about. They all fall into this herd mentality. Well, my group said, and so they just start spitting all of the bullcrap about their group, right? Well, my group said, and they start spitting all the bullcrap that their group said. Instead of trying to take it, like with a grain of salt from both perspectives and just look at it as an individual. Let me make something very clear. There are principles that I stand for in life, but I'm not necessarily of the opinion where I cannot be challenged on them. And I won't be challenged in the realm of like like if somebody's being an arsehole. If you're being an arsehole about it, I don't really entertain you. I want someone who can, just respectfully discuss. You can disagree, but discuss. Not freaking debate, discuss. Debate is worthless to me. I hate debate because most people are not strong enough to debate. All it usually just becomes is blah, 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 insults, I'm losing the argument, attack your character, And funnily enough, I'm not really wanting to mention comments, but, just in case if that guy is watching this by any chance, although I doubt it, in a recent video, somebody left comments that are kind of getting hidden by YouTube, and I only saw them recently, and I responded to them, about how apparently me calling out illegals that are freaking burning the country and stuff like that, I'm doing the wrong thing and they don't get benefits, which is an absolute freaking lie, by the way, And then he also tried to argue the fact that I don't know what I'm talking about in relation to illegals, which, funny story, let me tell you something. People in my family, I'm not going to obviously say their names or reveal anything, but people in my family, some of them have come here, migrating here legally, okay? They filled out the paperwork, they paid the fees, they swore the oath, became an American. So I actually know the freaking process. What are you going to tell the people that pay the fees, go through the process, and do it the legal way, swear the oath, all that crap, when all of the money that they had to save and do all that crap to get here means nothing because someone can just freaking hop over here or swim over here and just call it a day? But apparently, I don't know anything. Listen, I can handle that crap. I can handle differing viewpoints. I feel like you should be able to if you want to get better as a person. But the fact of the matter is, most people at the end of the day, they can't handle differing viewpoints. They can't even handle that you have differing viewpoints, and that's why they get angry, I personally feel like these days, it's just better to be silent, I don't like entering echo chambers, I really don't. And that's kind of why I enjoy, when an air quotes chamber, if it is a so-called echo chamber, has a lot of different views in it, A lot of the views in the BP space, for example, at a glance might seem very similar, but then it's as you expand, it gets a bit broader than you think. But that's kind of why I listen to, people all around. A lot of people that I can't listen to are there's just blue pills, because those mofos are just, oh my god. They are on some crap if they honestly think that they can convince you to just put your neck right in front of that guillotine and just hope that they don't drop it. That's essentially what they're saying. I know that you can get, divorce raped. I know that you can get SA charged and all kinds of stuff, but you just do it, I can't listen to it. Because it is literally just a blatant disregard for the reality that is happening, all because you're a pussy beggar. That's really all it is, especially these freaking dating coaches. Holy cow. Because I'm a pussy beggar, I should just disregard all this bull crap, and I need to try and put this persona up, and that's just too much energy. It's too much energy. Way too much energy. But I kind of wanted to share that because, guys, listen. If you're kind of like that, I'd encourage you, listen, be able to handle some different views. Abrasion is a good thing because it helps shape you and mold you and temper you. Not to what someone else wants you to be, but to what you want to do. Because, listen, you've been presented a different view. What will you make of it? Will you get all emotional like what happened today? Well, this evening, technically. Will you get all emotional and start arguing and start getting loud and unruly because someone feels differently about something? Or will you handle it and say, I never thought about it that way, but I just can't really wrap my head around it. But you're welcome to, have that opinion. Because that's not what happened today. They got very unruly. And like I said, me and my male manager are just looking at them and just shaking our heads. Because, like I said, to me, I find this very interesting that people look at these grandiose figures that they can think of about various subjects. Be it apologists for Christianity, atheism, climate change, freaking trans testicles, so just anything that you can possibly think of. And I'm like, you're an adult who has dedicated your whole life to trying to tell other people that you should believe and see the world the way I see the world. Because that's really all it really boils down to. Let's just be real. No matter what you want to say about it, and this is not me talking about those things from a standpoint of those are the things that I care about. Those are just things I named off the top of my head. Those are just things that people, they all want everyone to see things their way. Listen, guys, let me make this very clear. Like I said, and I told my good buddy Tom in the comments, you know, like when he asked my advice on something, listen, we should all get the ability to choose. You have been granted free will. Whether or not it's a good thing, I don't know, because a lot of people do some pretty effed up stuff with it, but nevertheless, you have free will. I think that people should always be allowed to get a hold of the information and whatever conclusion that they wish to come to. Don't try and stifle someone else's experience and whatnot on this world and try and force them to come to your conclusions. Unless, of course, the conclusions that they start coming to affect you negatively. Like the trans testicles bullcrap, where they're saying, oh, well, my 2-year-old son just identifies as a girl. That's freaking child abuse, you freaking cunt. And if we were smart, you'd be swinging from the gallows if you catch my drift. I don't understand how we as a society, like I said, listen, I'm all the more willing to allow people to come to certain conclusions and stuff like that. But when it's stuff like that, where it's starting to screw over people that literally can't decide for themselves and they're not even old enough to come to a conclusion, yeah, we need to go ahead and nip that in the bud. But yes, people, seriously, guys, especially in this space, don't treat differing viewpoints as something to get mad over. Don't treat it like that. Treat it as something to shape you. You have been presented with information. What are you going to make of it? You don't have to believe it. You don't have to disbelieve it. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to disagree with it. Just use it as you see fit. That's what information should be for, But I'm going to go ahead and end it here, folks. I'm going to go ahead and call my ride. On a side note, it's not looking too good right now. So far this next coming week, we've only got 15 hours. I don't know if that's 15 hours for the whole week or if that's literally just like 15 hours for the entire 2 weeks, because that's, oh my gosh. If that's 15 hours for the entire 2 weeks, that is... I'm literally just about to start spamming like McDonald's applications, because that's like the only thing that's actually... That's the only thing that without a shadow of a doubt is probably going to hire you. And I would hate to work in another restaurant, but if I only have 15 hours for the next 2 weeks, that's... Oh my god, that's insane, especially when I'm about to move right now, because... Yeah. Honestly, I really... At this point, if like the reason that this chick is so effed up is because of this relationship nonsense, and now I really think that they need to freaking get a new manager, because cutting people's hours this freaking much, I don't understand. But that's a topic for another night, gents. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys stay safe out there. Keep fighting, guys. There is life beyond your pain. I know it may be hard at times, and it's been hard for me. It still is hard for me, but that is what I'm going to move forward with. I'm still going to move forward and accept that even though it's tough right now, hopefully it'll get easier the next day. Thank you guys for listening again. God bless. I will see you guys next time.